Okay, I think we're good. I just had to set up some things. Alrighty. Today's the first day that I'm streaming on multiple platforms. I've also never streamed on Twitch before, so first day for that as well. Yeah, I was gonna finish this sketchbook drawing that I was doing just like an hour ago. I was gonna maybe add some water to it. It's kind of a lot of different shading with just the water versus having some diluted ink. Because like how I'm doing it right now is just adding water onto non-permanent ink. So it just kind of drags a little bit different way of doing it. It can add too much water. I was kind of debating whether I wanted to add tone to this one or not, or just leave it in as the blacks and the grays, or the blacks and the white, but I'll add some grays. It's a good warm up for when I go to do just the normal brush drawing. This was with brush pen. Brush pens are nice if you want something that's kind of fast, since you don't have to go and actually dip the brush in ink. But I think that I really like the dip brush with just my own ink on the side. I like that I have a lot more control, which is kind of the downside of the brush pen is. Like you just don't get as much control as all. I always like to add a bit of shadow around the eye area. The eye area, and then any overhangs is kind of a pretty safe way to go about it. I think my favorite way to do shadows is definitely cast shadows though. I think those are the most fun. I kind of try to choose just like one cast shadow though to make like as a primary one. I'll kind of like not use a lot of the other ones since it makes things start to look a little too grayed out. Like there could be a lot, like her whole face could be in shadow, but I kind of have decided to leave it not so harsh on the shadows on her face. And then instead I'll kind of do like a less important area, can just kind of pull the shadows down, maybe her shirt that's down here. So I guess like a little bit selective on how to do the cast shadows, but that's kind of my favorite part of the shading, just because it adds a lot to the drawing. That one's pretty much good. I did these two like back to back. Kind of like, I don't think the ideas really kind of fed into the other one that much on these two, but I just kind of did like this girl that I was originally gonna do some kind of beast or lion, and then it ended up being more like some kind of dragon head, and then wanted to do like it overhanging as some kind of decorative helmet or something. And then this one, I just wanted to do some kind of fiery night. Probably not the best thing, but a lot of times when I'm doing drawings in my sketchbook, I'll just draw on the back of marker that's bled through. And then sometimes I'll color on the other side, so it kind of like does like a double bleed through. But I kind of don't like to waste the pages much. So it does kind of ruin the drawing a little bit, but I kind of like it. Then when I go to draw on the other page, it kind of feels like a bit of a continuation kind of too. Yeah, this way of shading feels more of like a pull-in kind of thing. It's kind of what's happening, I guess. Pulling the ink around. Where using just permanent ink with diluted ink, it's more of a adding on to it. Okay. I'm gonna grab some markers. I used to do a warm gray a lot as skin tone, but my markers have been kind of dry now lately, so I'll try a little bit of a darker. Maybe I'll do the center dragon a red. I could just do them all green, I guess. Yeah, I'll do this green. Kind of debating whether I want the 3 heads to all be green or different color. I'll just make them all go together. Let me know if the stream lags at all. I changed a couple settings, so if it's like choppy or something, yeah, just let me know. I can adjust some things. Hey Ramon. I can't really do that because it costs a bit to print the book itself, so. Come on, blue. Since I did the dragon's green, I think I'm gonna do her shirts red. I really like how sometimes the marker will interact a lot with the ink wash and can kind of like clean up or change the drawing a lot just from adding a flat tone of a color across a shirt or skin. Definitely a different feel, like black and white versus the colored. Jeez, this orange, or I was gonna say this orange. It's supposed to be a brown, but it looks very orange. Next to the rest of the colors. Thinking the dark red is probably doing it. I'll actually do the triangle patterns. That same brown. Brownish orange. kind of try to flatten out some of these areas that are white. It'll make her eyes pop a bit more. Alright. I really like this red to kind of close in the characters. Do something with the background. Forgot to color that ear. So that's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Kind of just morning doodle. Bit of like a warm up. I didn't really plan on coloring it, but kind of liking the way it's going. A friend told me about your channel and your stuff is great. He also has your ephemera book. Oh man, that's awesome. That's cool to hear. Yeah, I need to start streaming and posting more regular. At least keep it consistent because I'll have like a good period, like a few weeks or a month, and then I'll kind of fall off and not do it for a few weeks to a month. Kind of like this really bright background. The gray tone for her face really helps carry the drawing though. Then I can kind of do whatever I want for the rest of the colors. I'm not really sure why, but every time that I leave or do the face like a very pale color, then I can do whatever I want for the rest of the color, and it usually ends up pretty good. But if I do some like even a normal skin tone color, I feel like all the colors around it like really fight with the face a lot more. But yeah, balance of contrast. Yeah, it's definitely. Alright, I'll color this other one that I did this morning too. Probably won't go as far on this one. It's like a bluish green for the flames. I kind of just like picking random colors that sound fun. Brilliant work. Thank you. I appreciate it. whenever I go back to color some of these, I almost have to like kind of redraw the drawing in my head and kind of think about like what some of the parts were. I like to go kind of crazy with as much things on the page as I can, so it's pretty easy to get lost when I go back to color. Especially like here, I wanted to color this as the fire, but I realized that's the sword hilt on his back there. Would have ended up looking a little weird. I'll do this skull flames orange. Hopefully he doesn't stand out too much. Nice color for the fire. The fire has a lot of different... I feel like you can kind of do fire almost any color and it kind of works. It's kind of nice because it can be like a rainbow of different colors. To the water, bit of a lighter blue. This might look a little weird, but I'm gonna experiment a bit and do this background a pretty dark red. I can imagine that turning out great. Yeah, I feel like over over the years of drawing, the one thing that I've kind of noticed is like I've been getting a lot more brave, which is really good because I've kind of had to like intentionally practice doing that because I think it's like the fastest way to kind of progress is not being afraid of the outcome, and it leaves like a lot of room to go and explore and try things even if they're gonna fail. Like I've kind of learned that any drawing that you do can kind of just be manipulated after you make a mistake, so pretty much every drawing can be recovered in some way. I mean, even if your drawing was covered with things you don't like, you could always like take ink and black out the whole page and then take like I don't know, like a white pen, gel pen or something, and then you can draw over that even. So there's just so many ways to kind of fix a drawing or go with it and make something that was kind of a bit unplanned. I don't know. For me, that kind of makes drawing a lot more fun. I think out of like anything that I've learned or practiced for drawing, I think the not having fear kind of leads to the most enjoyment, and it just kind of like lets the chains off and you don't have to feel restricted to try to have a certain outcome always happen. I'm glad this color's different enough from her shirt up there, because I was a little worried that it would look like her like shirt's just being stretched down across this whole bottom page. But I think it looks pretty alright. It's also like this white streak right here where the pages separate. That kind of helps. Yeah, we'll have to see if this red turns out. It's kind of... I think it should be fine. It's still a bit dependent on what colors this guy in the middle turns out to be. But going with everything so far, it seems like it'll probably be fine. I find when I'm coloring, I'll kind of like pick a color that goes with one that's already on the page and kind of just like bouncing through colors. Like, oh, this looks good with, or red looks kind of good with the blue, or like the green looks good with the red, and then just kind of pick colors that way throughout the drawing rather than having like oh, I'm gonna have his armor a certain color. Sometimes I'll do that, but often like at the start. Yeah, my friend that watches you has been drawing a lot from when he found you. He said his biggest issue was worrying about every drawing. You gave him a different outlook. Oh, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I just kind of, I don't know. I try to be honest and tell things how I kind of find them to be. And yeah, I had to kind of go through a weird learning process, I guess, of taking everything that I've seen other people do, and then try to work out what kind of works and doesn't for me. So I feel like for like specific people, what I kind of find works for me, and some of the ideas hopefully help other people as well. There's a lot of different like paths and routes to kind of go about art. I just ran out of room to test my colors though. Let's do it here. Yeah, the worrying about every drawing, I like sometimes get it, but it's like very rare now. I'd say like once every 10 drawings. But also if that ever comes up where I'm like worried about how every line is gonna work or how the drawing's gonna turn out, I kind of find that I'm trying a little bit too hard, and usually when that happens, the drawing's not gonna turn out very well because it's kind of like drawing very like clenching the brush or pen like so tightly that kind of leaves no room to like have a bit of flow to it and elegance, I guess. Yeah, I kind of found for learning as well, like when I was doing a bunch of doodles in my sketchbook, I kind of found that like for accelerating how fast I could learn, it was a lot better for me to draw like I guess characters like this where it's just like wacky stuff and different characters that might not make sense. But the more kind of new ideas that I can explore and mess around with, then I'll kind of like get more out of it that way. Whereas if I was trying to plan ahead a lot and stress about how everything's going to turn out, then it kind of locks you into like one box that like only one outcome will kind of come out of it. And it would probably be worse than what you think of in your head. But drawing like whatever kind of comes to my head, or if I do have a pre-planned idea, then I just kind of go for it. And usually the outcome will like, I'll learn something from the outcome, even if my drawing wasn't like pretty or the lines weren't perfect. Just kind of doing the act of whatever you think of your head and the drawing that you want to create will just kind of like propel you forward. But it's kind of not as obvious, I guess, as like, oh, your drawings will just get better and better. It's just kind of like if you are like brave enough to try something new, then you'll kind of like pick up on a lot of those things that like brave drawing kind of showed you, even if it's a really horrible drawing. And then that's kind of like the key thing to then like creating better drawings, is kind of like gathering a bunch of information that you learn from failing, I guess. It's crazy to me how much mental, emotional effort goes into drawing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like that for a lot of different things. Like, I got into like a lot of endurance running lately, just for like fun as a hobby. But like endurance running, just running like a lot of miles at a time, it's like mostly mental and like mentality, I think, over like a lot of other things. I mean, you can take a lot of things as like as more of like a mental slash emotional, or you can take it as not. So I don't know, maybe it's like from person to person. Like some people are probably a lot more like analytical about certain things, so it may just be like a personality thing. But that's kind of I guess what I was talking about before, where like I had to like kind of turn a lot of things that I like about other artists, or like ways that works for them, and then maybe they like think about things a lot differently. So I have to kind of like find a way that I can use it more so that suits like my personality and kind of how I go about doing things. Especially the learning. I feel like I had to like really reconstruct a way to learn, because I was like really struggling with doing that before. I think I'll use the green that was on the one above and carry it down. Give him a bit of like a zombie, undead kind of look. Yeah, for drawing, I've kind of accepted that I'm probably gonna be drawing my whole life. So I don't really try to rush like going from start to finish. I don't really think there is a finish line either, but I know when I first started, I just wanted to like learn as much as I could, and just wanted to like get good at drawing as fast as possible. But then I kind of had like a change of goals after practicing for some like bit of time, that I wanted to more so just still be drawing in like 50 years. And I kind of value that higher than like trying to speed run everything now. I don't know what brown I was using. We'll just add this one. But yeah, so I've kind of tried to make everything in like my drawing process, and how I learn is very like longevity. Like I still want to be doing this my whole life. So kind of have set it up in a way for my like the way I draw with like straight ink, and a lot of from imagination and that sort of thing, is to really like playing the long game, really. Like even if my drawings are like not looking good, or they're like bad or whatnot, for whatever my goal is, I know that like down the road they'll just like be better from consistently like doing it. So I think choosing, if you're going for like a long route, like the art is kind of like a lifelong thing, then I think kind of choosing the way that you want to go about the art can like be very beneficial, because whatever way that you are currently practicing, or like the way that you draw, I guess if you see it as something that you want to do down the line, or if it's more of like a temporary thing. Like I knew I wanted to draw like scenes of characters and that sort of thing, but I knew it'd be pretty hard to do. So I kind of just started trying to draw scenes of characters. Like I wanted to draw scenes of characters with a brush, and like from imagination. That was kind of my goal. So but I didn't know how to do those things at all, but I just kind of started with drawing scenes from imagination with a brush, and just kind of like started doing it, even though it was horrible at the start. But just over time, just kind of get a little bit better and a little bit better. And like, I'm not really in a rush to like get better, so just kind of let time do its thing, I guess. I think really the way to get better at drawing is to draw, and the more that you draw, you're probably gonna up your like chances of learning from each drawing. That's some great stuff. Thank you. Yeah, some of those drawings in there are a bit old. You can kind of, I don't know if you can see, but like some of my recent ones are a bit better. But I hear you though, man. I'm trying to start drawing again. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I mean that's all you really have to do is just draw. I know some days it kind of sucks or you don't feel like doing it, but I don't know. There'll be some days where I don't feel like drawing, and then like an hour will go by, and then I all of a sudden feel like drawing. So I kind of like try not to force myself because I don't know. I find that if I'm just kind of patient, then like there'll be a lot of opportunities to draw throughout the day. I mean, sometimes when I try to force myself to draw, there'll just be like a ton of random life stuff happening that doesn't allow me to draw. And then days that I like don't force it, then it's just like, oh, now I have all day to draw for some reason. So there's definitely enough time, I feel like. For a while, my only times to draw in my day was like 10 minutes during my lunch break at work, and then like maybe a few minutes on a couple breaks, and that was pretty much it. I knew I wouldn't want to draw when I got home since I'd be pretty exhausted. But yeah, I mean, it's just little times. Also, my drawings kind of don't turn out if I force myself to draw. I'll kind of just not. Like, I feel like it's gonna kind of because you go into it like not wanting to draw anything, so then I kind of don't draw anything good or something that I like enjoy because I don't really want to draw. I guess it kind of just shows in the drawing, but the times that I do want to draw, I think usually will make my drawings that I'm actually proud of or ones that are good. I think I'll do like a light purple for his armor, maybe. Or a pink, I guess. Yeah, I feel like sometimes it'll be a little hard to tell the difference too between like days that I feel like drawing and then like then I'm just too scared to draw that day. Like I think of a cool idea and then maybe the idea is like a little bit too far out there where I'm like, I don't know if I can pull this off. Then some like days like that when I have that kind of feeling, then I'll try to just like place down marks on the page, like just placing down color onto a drawing, or I'll show later, but like for this drawing, I start with like a bit of an ink wash, just like splattering it down, and then I'll just kind of draw like inside it or like around it, but just kind of putting something down on the page, even if it's like I don't know, just grabbing ink and splattering on the page, and then it doesn't really have to have any relevance with the drawing, but then you just kind of draw around it. It's like you kind of just get your foot in the door and have something down right away. I feel like that kind of always helps on days where like I really want to draw, but I'm just a little not ready for it, I guess. It sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I've been doing it a lot lately. Just like I really like doing it with an ink wash, like a diluted ink with a brush, and just placing it down. It's just like a major confidence boost when I'm starting the drawing. I feel like I can kind of draw anything when I do that. But I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing that too. Like maybe you have something that you know you can draw. Like if you're really good at, I don't know, cats or faces or something like that, then you can kind of just like go to your go-to like comfort drawings and just put that down, and then from there you can kind of work around the page and start maybe trying things that are a little in that you're uncomfortable with. Hopefully this is the same blue. It looks close enough if it's not though. I think it might be the same one. I love drawing in sketchbooks, but they're so weird for cameras, because especially the landscape one. I wish I could put the whole thing on the page, but it just doesn't really fit in like a good way. And if I zoom in, then it's like I have to keep shifting it. It was a real pain to try to give photos of these drawings for my book, since they were like just awkward to edit and put in. But yeah, that's why I kind of stick with drawing mostly on like a sheet this size, because it just like works perfect for being able to put on the camera. But yeah, I still like recording some of the sketchbook stuff because it's kind of fun. It's just like not really much pressure to drawing in a sketchbook. If anyone ever asks for an original out of the sketchbook, I might be tempted to cut it out. Don't know where my gold color is. think drawn behind words perfectly. Is gold might work out. I've never done pink with gold before. Actually, it's nice together. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I guess it goes with the zombie green skin. I gotta find my watercolor. Not an actual watercolor, but the color I used for the water. Alright, let's go in with a bit of shadow now. Sometimes I'll go in with a marker afterwards and give it a bit more rendering. Especially for like this one, I feel like some things could be pushed around a bit. Like the arm and the bottom part could be pushed back into the character. Yeah, maybe just do this all. Alright, that's probably good enough for that. I really like how this one turned out. Like the girl's face. I do like the zombie skin on the other one a lot though. Alright, I'll set up my brushes so I can finish or continue the drawing that I have behind the sketchbook. You are great, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Maybe I'll zoom out a bit more. Yeah, it's probably good. Alright, now to play around with some ink. But yeah, my favorite thing to do is just slap down some ink. Just anywhere, really. Whatever open spot. It is literally just for a confidence boost, honestly. It can be kind of nice too to just like get the ink to dry off the brush a bit. I have another like book or piece of paper that I'm using on the side that's off camera to wipe off the ink off my brush. Since I'm using Sumi ink and it's a little like kind of, I have it a bit watered down. It's a bit of a thick watery ink and just kind of dipping it on the brush. It can be a lot of like excess ink on there. And if I just dip and then go to draw, it's a little hard to get a finer line. It'll just kind of like blob and be more of like a bold marker. So yeah, I have that on the side. All right. Yeah, I don't even need to really draw like where I put the ink wash. Just kind of creates like it creates shapes on the page. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's easier to like put something in that spot once there's something around it. I kind of feel like for drawing scenes, it just gets way easier the more characters and stuff you have in the scene, because you can just kind of tell where you're at on the page. So I can place like another one of this kind of character that I have going on over here. And I'll just put him right next to in this open spot. And he has kind of this mask on. I like continuing all of the themes across the drawings. It's kind of fun. Also helps a bit for placing things. This lets me be a little bit like creative, since I already know what I'm drawing. So if I need to kind of figure something out, I can just look back at the character. And I also really like it for practicing, since like this character, this one back here, I can kind of like improve a bit of his design on him, and then also practice some like new ideas off of him. And I don't really need to use a whole lot of energy on coming up with a new character idea right away. And then I'll kind of just like let my brain chill, I guess. Well, I do this idea that I already have down, and then later if I kind of like think of something, then I'll go and kind of make a new character idea or something. And then like I'll look at my other character, and he's holding a sword and has like this side cloth for his outfit. And then he's got wrapping on his hand. So for this character, all I really need to focus on is how I'm gonna place his arm. And I don't really need to think about like generating a new look for him. Can kind of just like look back and know what I'm gonna do for the outfit. Well, I'm focusing more so on like his arm placement and more so his anatomy or placement of his features. I'll have to head out. I really appreciate your commentary and I'll definitely be watching your videos. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, there's have like I don't know, there's probably like 600 to 700 videos I think I have on YouTube. Not all of them are like commentary, but they're at least like all some drawing that I was doing at the time. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day or night. For this hand, I noticed I did it like way too small. So usually when I have something happen like this, there's a lot of ways to kind of take advantage of it. So I kind of start to think about like if I make a mistake, like his hand is too small, then I thought of, well, his hand is pretty small, so it kind of adds like a bit of a punch forward. So he's kind of creating like a bit of a triangle formation off of his punch kind of like being smaller. So I'll add a bit of like these ribbons coming off, which my other character also has, and it kind of just like adds more forward momentum. So now I'm taking like a mistake that would have been usually seen as a bad thing, and then now I can use that to a bit of an advantage or direction for where I want to go with this character. And we'll make this sword come out this way. Right. But yeah, this is kind of how I like to go about making these characters to then like fill up the page. Basically is usually my goal when I'm going to start a drawing. It's kind of just like filling up the page, but doing it in a way that's interesting and filling it up with something that will kind of bring me a bit of enjoyment while I'm doing it. So just kind of placing down a lot of features that the other character has, like the fur on his back and the backpack. And sometimes I'll go and like adjust certain things, like, oh, I want to have a bit more of like the weight of that strap pop the backpack up, or I want a bit of a shadow there. So I kind of will still go back and edit some of these other things, and like we could place a shadow here to break up a bit of that line that's there. And then his other arm doesn't have a sword in it, so at this point I feel like comfortable enough with the character here, so I can start to kind of branch off a bit and make him a little bit unique. So I just need to find where his body is coming through. I'll just kind of guess it's sitting somewhere here. And then kind of just copy a bit of the design on the previous one. And I'll make this black because that's the color of the previous character's shirts. And then he's got a bit of the pouches. And then his pants. And then the cloth that comes through. And his pants black. I have a bit of like this water kind of background going on, so I'll keep a bit of that. I kind of swap between two brushes. One that been using for my lighter tones, and then my main brush that I put the ink on will give me a bit of a darker tone. So this is the one that I'm using for the lighter tones. And I'll kind of just use this one to round off details on a character. Like his hands, his arm. And mainly like the majority things. So if I'm going to place a lot of a tone, it would probably be off this tone. And then before I do that other foot or leg that's back there, I can kind of, I'll add some of the water. I like rinsing off my main brush. It gives a bit of a darker tone if I don't rinse it off that much, which can be a good thing. But it also helps to just rinse off the brush, since the ink will kind of build up and start to dry out the brush, and I'll start to get splayed ends on the brush, which kind of hurts a bit when I'm trying to do a lot of fine detail. And with the darker tone, I'm just trying to do more of cast shadows, or where there'd be a bit of like a crevice or shadow and spot. Like under his neck here. And if I wanted a bit darker, then I just mix up some ink and dip it in water for a second. And then we have a bit of a darker tone. can kind of darken in some of these wrappings as if they were like a brown. Alright, now I'll go back to my main brush with the black ink. Alright. So now the mission is kind of... I think I'm going to darken this in so that it's not fighting this character too much and gives him a bit of space. And then for this character, so his arms pretty up and forward. So I'll try to have this other one. A bit on the back side and crossing. Alright, not perfect or anything, but I kind of just want this character getting placed here. Okay, and then we got the other leg. Alright, so now we got 3 characters. And I started off with that darker ink wash spot. So now I'll kind of change the flow of the drawing. So it's like heading kind of this way as I'm drawing and having this kind of sweep motion here. So this character will be a bit of like the interest point, I guess, where he is kind of fighting or contradicting the flow of the drawing. Kind of the like villain or antagonist for this page. Not really like a villain, I guess, but I like to have two opposing sides of a drawing. Okay. Try to get a bit of a sweep in motion. Okay. I'll have to figure out what to do for this left arm. This is the first character I've actually had room on the page to put their feet. Try to fit a smaller character maybe in this bottom right. I'll let that dry for a second though. All right. I'll maybe color this one. Maybe I'll do like only skin tones. I don't know. This could maybe work. I'll try it. I don't really have anything to lose. Alright. Kind of wanted to color these guys green. I don't know, it might be kind of fun to have them as some sort of zombie kind of thing. I always like that the Wicked Witch of the West and always had green skin. Always is kind of interesting for a character. Alright, we'll see if this color works out for the tigers. I didn't want to do like a straight orange since it'll give the drawing a bit of a different vibe because it'll be like really bright. And I want to keep it a bit of a darker, like gray kind of washed look. So hopefully this color works. It's a dark yellow. So hopefully they end up looking kind of like a golden color. Or at least like a more orange than what our line is in the middle there. So, and I think it's gonna work out that way. The orange honestly might have worked still. We'll see how this turns out though. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this color pick. It makes it look very like fiery, but muted at the same time, which is pretty much what I was going for. I'll just have to try to figure out where these two characters kind of collide over here. Not get them mixed up. Oops. Alright. I want to do the moon like a greenish gray. I'll have to... Yeah, I guess I'll just do this one. I was gonna look for a lighter one, but we'll have to do this. This will probably look alright. As I just start, I find the light one. I'll probably do both. I'll do the lighter one for his features. We'll see how that ends up looking. If this doesn't work as well, then I'll probably go and do the clouds, the lighter color, and then I'll do the moon just all this darker green. Which may not be a bad idea. Yeah, I'll actually just do it all one zone. I think it just helps the overall drawing the most. Otherwise, he's kind of going to end up with like this speckled look, which is fine if he was the main focus on the drawing. But it's going to kind of take away from the characters. Yeah, oh, it's way better than the other way. It was kind of bothering me that these ears weren't green. It was like a bit of a weird transition. Yeah, I think that looks a bit better. Kind of debating coloring their nose. Yeah, I think that feels better. Yeah, that's way better. Maybe I should go through with a gray marker. Zoom out. I think, I guess I forgot the tiger down here. What do you mean you thought this was Bryce Kolander? Alright, that's probably gonna do it for this drawing. I feel like it shows up a lot darker on camera than it actually is. It's a more like this. Yeah, it was like on camera it was looking a lot darker, but yeah, it's a lot lighter than it actually is. I legit thought this was another one of Picasso's live streams from the afterlife. Did a few other drawings earlier today too. Yeah, I did this one. I think this one turned out pretty cool. It's very like liquidy, which is I don't normally get that effect in my drawings, but kind of just ended up doing that. So yeah, that one turned out pretty cool, and then I did like this zombie night also. So yeah, we did about 3 drawings today. This one I had started these 2 characters yesterday, but I'd say it's pretty good drawing day. I'll probably draw more later tonight off stream. Yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out and watching the stream. Find a place to sign. Alright, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Hope everyone has a good rest of their day or morning or night, wherever it is for you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.